So, folks, this is the second part of our interview with dear Hernani Garcia Lima. There's a lot to cover, a lot of stories, and it got really long, so I split it into two parts. We even ran out of battery. I didn't notice, so the cut in the previous video was kind of abrupt. So let's pick up from here, because there's a lot of story to tell. Let's go. Let's try to break it down. But I think we were talking about, from the first part where it got cut off, about Urandir's trip to the parallel world.
Yes, yes. I was saying that he was already at the ziggurat or getting ready for the ziggurat, but either way, he went to visit his mother. And the person who went to visit his mother wasn't actually him, it was a copy of him. So he went there, talked with his siblings. You said he came, had a chat, a conversation with the people who were there, right? So at that moment, it wasn't really him. Later, I talked to him and he told me that he hadn't actually made that trip himself. Even in person, it was a copy because he was getting ready to go to the parallel world.
Yeah, so just for those who don't know, because it got cut off, we couldn't finish explaining for the people who don't know what happened. This was a very interesting event that happened in Ziggurat, where Urandir was driving his pickup truck slowly, about 10 kilometers per hour. Suddenly, a light, it looked like fire, appeared on the truck and he disappeared. The truck started moving slowly, then stopped, engine still running, with 200 people present in front where the observatory is. I'm going to show some photos to illustrate. Where the observatory is, there's a hill right next to it, an incline, right? 200 people were seated there. Many people were filming. I was filming too. I'll show the images here so you can see of that fire appearing and taking him away. He was taken to the parallel world.
Olha as luzes.
Estou vendo tudo duplo. Parou o carro, já mandou.
Levaram ele.
Levaram, não?
Levaram.
Eu vi duplo agora há pouco.
Levaram ele, eu vi umas luzes dentro.
Você viu também, né?
Já foi. Foi. Janela.
Já foi?
Foi.
Foi, eu vi, né?
Brilhou.
Ficou duplo.
Olha!
Nossa senhora.
Tá indo, gente.
Tá vendo, pessoal?
Já foi.
Você viu a luz?
Vi, só que eu não consegui filmar aqui, não.
So, just to wrap up the multiplication issue, then we'll get back to this whole parallel world thing. Parallel world. Why did he go to the parallel world at that moment? And after I managed to find out that those copies were mine, the way to connect had to be a mental connection. Then it would be something simple that creates obedience. But it's not really obedience. It's more like the copies being available for you whenever you need them. If I need a copy today to go somewhere, I just create it and the connection's the same. Everything that's happening, even the temperature, I know exactly what the environment is like. It's
Automatic. It's automatic. Automated.
so I put a copy to do that. But the thing is, our subconscious is always questioning, always searching. I set up a time connection with Urandir. I said Urandir, but then what happened on October 12th, 1994? And I did not have, up until now, out of all the times we have done this return in time, I could not manage it. Like an earlier one. Because that happened in 94, then it happened here in Boa Sorte as well, in that the matter of having a meal then at 2:45 in the morning, he was taken to the ship. Then the president of Venceslau in March 1995 was taken, but it didn't have to be earlier. The magnetoid. His action doesn't go back in time. How did that happen? Then he said, go back to the ship with the president of Venezuela from March 1995, do the training again. So I went back to do the training. and so on, that whole thing. I saw the beings working on him, which I already knew what it was. Him, those things. When all of a sudden I noticed that out of the corner of my eye, a figure started to appear. In my right eye, a figure started to appear. With this training back and forth, I realized it was a child. And I said, Urandir, the only thing I saw different in this training is that now, in the corner of my right eye here, I can see that it's a child. Who is this child? Then he said, you don't know who this child is? Then, of course, he played the check. Are you trying to say that this child is me? He said, yes. In 1976, Urandir was 13 years old and I was 16. I had just come from Ilha Solteira because I used to live in Ilha Solteira. And then remember how he always said he was taken to the ship and that this happened? They implanted the chip and all that. The beings went to Marababa Paulista in the state of Sao Paulo and took Urandir to do this, to implant this chip in him and do what they had to do with the big money. And they came for me too, President Bessazal. And then he told me, he explained, made it clear to me that on that day, I got a magnetoid. The same magnetoid he got, I got it too. So because of that magnetoid from 1976, and now in 94, in October of 94, I was able to multiply myself ever since, back then. But since there are so many abilities, we have to keep developing on them. So this secret, these things, everything that started in 76, 94, all that stuff, all of it. Why doesn't he say it earlier? These things to us? Because we wouldn't be able to understand. And as I think I've already mentioned, there's a very strong element here in the system. On Earth, it's the ego. It's very easy for us to think we're better than others. It's very easy. So that can be not only harmful in your relationships with people, but also to yourself. You can become someone you're not. But there's that tendency, right? That's why he only shares the information at the right moment. Now, about him being taken to parallel worlds. A situation started a little before that. Do you remember Alessandra?
I remember.
So Alessandra didn't have anything, not even a little field. Here, it's been many years, really many years. And I was still living in the house that's now Rampazzo's. And Alessandra, she liked to walk around the farm, and suddenly she showed up at my house, but completely different, like extremely happy, something unusual. So, Alessandro, what happened? You got Fornani, Bonnie. I just had an encounter over there with a partner. I could feel it. Something that's so supreme, so wonderful that I imagine it must be love. And it's something that also allowed me to distinguish between love and what we think is love. Because, for example, at the time, she said, I thought I loved my husband. I thought I loved my children. I thought I loved my parents. But that's not it. There's a huge difference between love and what we project, because everything is about possession. I think I own this, I own that. I projected onto my children what I wanted to be, what my husband wanted to be, so that whole thing doesn't really exist. Love, it's like this. I'm the owner, my child is my property, my parents belong to me, that whole thing. So love, real love, doesn't exist. That's what I felt. It's totally different. She was just so happy. We talked there for quite a while, and the next day I came here in the morning to Urandir's house. We had some business to take care of, so I said, Urandir, did you know that Alessandra had a contact last night? He said, no, I haven't talked to the others yet. I didn't know. So I told him what she had shared, and she said, it really doesn't exist. Are you kidding? No, Hernando, here in the Earth system, love doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. What exists is exactly what she said. We project ourselves onto our kids. We think we own our kids. We think we own our husbands, our wives, our parents, that whole thing. And vice versa. It's all pretty much a matter of possession. But that's not love. We confuse these things because we don't know what love really is. If the true essence of love actually existed here in this system, a lot of things just wouldn't happen. Negativity would practically not exist. Then I remember Chico, that dog who was always with him everywhere in the Jeep, right? I said, but at least when it comes to animals, it exists. Look at Chico, man. He stays there with you until you wake up and everything. That doesn't exist. Let me explain why Chico is here. Chico is here because he has food, he has water, he likes riding in the Jeep. When I go out, he jumps right into the Jeep, all that stuff. So that's not it. It's not. Even the cat, it doesn't have love. The cat likes the house. Liking is different from loving. Those things are very different. And he said, no. Right after that, he started talking about the essence of love, that when he went to the beyond, to the world of parallels, he would bring the essence of love. In fact, when that thing with the pickup truck happened, which you'll show so people can get an idea, he went to the parallel worlds. He talked to couples. Remember he mentioned that? He didn't go there and talk to people individually. No. Every moment was with couples because they were showing him and passing on the frequency to him what real love between two polarities is. Then he brought back the essence of love. Today, the system exists because he brought only the essence. This essence is going to be developed. This vibration, this energy, it's being developed. So much so that now we're entering the era of women, right?
Are we?
The age of Aquarius, the feminine era, right? Despite the situation we're in, the country, the world itself, in many ways, but not that kind of love that it's become a joke now, hasn't it? But the essence of love will reach everyone, and everyone will feel it.
Hernani, let me make a side note, because most people, for sure, still don't know what the magnetoid is. We've been talking about the magnetoid. We know about it because it's part of our training. It's a technology from the 49 races, and it can be used in various ways. The way Hernani accessed it was different from the way I did. I accessed 3, and the last one I accessed was offered in a wooden bowl that Bilu brought, the famous E.T. Bilu, over in Jucatiba. He teleported a wooden bowl with 3 magnetoids, which were little balls. They looked like Mentos, but they were lit up. They had a glow, a luminosity. There were 3 of us, me, Gerson, and Durst that day. We ingested this technology. I took one and put it in my mouth. When I picked it up from the bowl, it was glowing. When I put it in, it kind of felt like a hard little Mentos. When I put it in my mouth, it immediately softened. It felt like gelatin, like some kind of goo. I swallowed that goo, and honestly, guys, it made me feel a little nauseous for a moment. Why? Because that gelatin was vibrating as it went down. It felt like I had swallowed a fly or a bee and it was flapping its wings. That thing was vibrating as it went down my throat and made me feel a bit nauseous, but just for a moment. But it's a technology that's absorbed by our body, circulates in our blood, and has countless functions. Besides exponentially speeding up our brain activity, it improves the electrical charge, the electric jump between our cells. It reacts. When we're doing, let's say, work where certain ships from our partners show up, like today, we're here in Dakila. Today, we just came from a session where the GNA ships, those that look like they're flashing, they interact. These luminous frequencies interact and boost the magnetoid. It helps with greater absorption. And Nanny was different, wasn't it?
Yes, yes.
It's totally different with another function, let's say. But the magnetoid is a technology from the 49 races. Just so you all know.
Each magnetoid acts in various ways in our bodies. In the case of the one I got in 1976, it enhanced my ability related to multiplication. It's both physical and energetic. The function is different. I've also seen someone ingest a magnetoid similar to yours, and he swallowed it. And as it was going down, you could see the neon. And when it's an energetic matter, it can also be absorbed. You place it near your navel, and the body absorbs it. And these are fantastic technologies that make your abilities start to wake up, start to awaken, start to see reality. Because here, where we are in the system, we're practically almost asleep. Here, we're basically sleeping through time and space. Now, another really interesting thing, Felipe, that happened, that really affected me. Lija and Vanya, like when you drink chimarrao, you all drink chimarrao. Lija comes over to my house. Almost every day they would go there and drink chimarrao. And they posted something in the Bible group, a part there where it talks about quails.
Yes, yeah.
Who was more, I don't really know much about I don't read it, but I just found it really interesting because I saw them talking about this quail that's in the Bible where it says that Moses, after he had freed the people and went into the desert, he spent a long time wandering with those people. And then people were organized, almost like a political system, almost like a kind of politics. And there were some elders who started talking with the people, and there were a lot of questions raised, which is what happened with us here too, because they started questioning Moses. Why was it only him who went up the mountain? Why did God only speak to him? Why didn't he speak to the others? And another thing, when they were slaves, they had food, they had bread, they had meat, they had water. Now in the desert, all that suffering wasn't getting them anywhere. So they started questioning Moses' authority, started questioning everything Moses had done. Look at what the guy went through to free the people. Then Moses went up the mountain and he said, Lord, more or less like this, whoever reads it will know. Everything you asked of me, I did. Now, why don't you just take me away? Since the people are already doubting me, they don't believe what I say, they complain about everything, complain because there's no water. Same thing as today, right? We complain about everything.
Yep.
It's true. And we still blame someone else. Then God said, no, so let's do the following. I even drew a parallel because something similar happened here with Urandir. When many years ago you were there, you were with us, you saw it. Only Urandir would go up and talk to the partners. Only he would talk.
To the gardeners. For several years, only Urandir would talk to Lo. Of course, we saw the beings. We saw them walking, floating above the trees, the ships flying, passing through trees, probes, all kinds of crazy stuff. But talking, standing right there with them.
And when he spoke, for example, on the last day, he'd say, hey, folks, you need to stay one more day here at the farm and all because the work isn't finished yet. We still have to do some activations, I don't know what else. And it was the partners who asked for it. Since we didn't have this direct contact with the partners like we do today, being able to talk to them directly. And one of the biggest critics, I found this interesting, one of the biggest critics who used to speak to the group was invited by Urandir to come up. Come on, let's go with me now then. And he spoke directly with Ceres. And Ceres said, now you go back down. I won't mention the name because it would be a bit awkward. You go down and tell the people there that they need to stay one more day. From then on, right after that, we talked and people started to understand how things work. And then it was just like with Moses. Then God said, here's what you do, Moses. Tell the elders to go up with you to Larginia. Go up there because I'm going to talk to them. So they went up. God was there, at least according to what they read there. And the elders went up and he went to talk with them. Man, I can only imagine what was going through those people's heads, even back then, with all the religion and everything, when God showed up. What kind of bad things did they do to Moses? What kind of things did they say to the people that they didn't even know about?
They ate humble pie.
They had to just take it, just swallow it. Then God said, what's your complaint? What's the problem? No, it's just that Moses went up to the mountain, and now we're here in the presence of the Lord. Some kind of mediation or whatever we imagine it is. And the people don't have water, don't have food, don't have meat, right? And back when we were slaves, we had all that. He said, all right then, so here's what we're going to do. Starting tomorrow, you'll have all the meat you want. But be careful because you might eat too much. Many of you will overeat, stuff yourselves, and some will even die from eating so much. They weren't used to it anymore. They were used to eating just a little, some fish and stuff, that kind of thing. Then he turned and said, "But Lord, how are we going to get all this meat and everything? All of it? Because even if we slaughter all the neighboring herds here, there's no way to feed all these people. And if we cast our nets, there's no way we could catch that much fish and water and all that stuff." He used an expression, "My arms have not grown short. Do what I'm telling you, and you'll see what happens." All right. So it says that the next day there was a flock of quails. That must have been an amazing situation. And the people ate, they cast the net. They caught fish and all that, and everyone was fed. But up to that point, it's all good. Just stories, stories. What really happened are things we can only imagine, right? But there was one phrase that stuck with me. That one, "My arms have not grown short." And I kept thinking about that, man. I even got upset because I started remembering the story of Moses, that he was a prince. Egypt, right? He could have been the Pharaoh, and he gave it all up for one reason or another. Then there were a bunch of plagues, a lot of people died. I thought, why so much death when the guy could have solved it so much more easily? Then I was told that even those people who died, the children and all that, it's all just different stages of evolution. We have to go through it. We all have to go through these stages of evolution. When we no longer die in the flesh and become light, then yes, that's the transmutative process. That's when you break free from this cycle. All right. And I was at home. There were just a few people here. And I said to Vanya, let's go down there. Let's hang out with the folks. Let's have a chat with everyone. Then she said, "Oh no, I don't know if she was tired or had something else going on. She said something, but I don't remember what it was." But I said, I'm going down. I'm going down no matter what. It's just that Ravelin is far from Ziggurat, about 5 kilometers, and we have to travel from one place to the other. I live in Ziggurat. I would have to come to Ravelin.
We are here in the auditorium, here in, let's say, in the room behind the Havilon Auditorium. We are here at Dakila headquarters. We're recording this here during one of our activities, right?
Exactly.
And Hernani lives 5 kilometers from here, which is
Ziggurat.
Zig.
City under construction.
That's right.
So I got here, started talking with the folks, and then suddenly an instruction came, "Hey, everyone to Cascayao." It's a place here in Ravallo, too, a contact spot. When we got there, Billu didn't take long. He showed up, talked to everyone and all that, and we kind of know the process when he's all ready. He's about to leave. So before he left, I went ahead and said, "Billu, I asked for permission, right? Can I ask you a question?" He said, "You can." But it seemed like the other people there weren't coming. They started talking and weren't coming over. And I felt, Felipe, that he was turning to leave. And when I asked if he could answer a question, I noticed he turned around. Man, what a powerful thing out of nowhere. So I went ahead and asked, "Billu, at any point in your existence, did you use that phrase?" "I did."
You really cornered him there, huh?
"My arms haven't gotten shorter yet, have they?" And he said, "Yes, it was me who said it." That was a shock for me. Just imagine, what a crazy thing. Then he turned to me and said, "Now that you know who I am, what are you going to do with that information?"
Go ahead and tell Latif.
So I'm telling it now, but on that day, he left. And when I was talking to people, the guys didn't hear it, man.
Look at that.
They didn't hear it. People didn't hear it. I said, "No way. Was I the only one who heard it?" So since I had a recording, I went to check it out, showed it to the people here. "Guys, I asked, it's recorded here, and people didn't hear it." Then, after that answer, who is Billu? What are they in the story? Who are the gods in the story? Why did they hide all this from us?
What?
Did they hide everything?
From us, man. By the way, since Hernandez is talking about this here, during countless conversations with Billu and Bell, many times he pointed us to read Exodus. Read Exodus because Billu is there. I'm not going to say who I was. Now you have to figure it out. He keeps doing this to us, pushing us to go, and Hernandez picked up on it and saw it.
Yeah, right? Now, here's something interesting. We talk about Billu, about the partners, right? Your Aunt Dear. Man, we've been friends for so many years now, and I've always dealt with this exact same situation because just talking about paranormal stuff, the guy is a phenomenon. He does whatever he wants. He stops everything. He gets things moving. He messes with matter. I think we talked about this at the beginning of the other one. Back then, what happened when I met him? Okay, so all these years, I always asked, Urandir, have you ever managed to remember who you are? Because the more we evolve, the more our abilities come out, the more contact you have with the partners, you start to remember who you are. And no, for many years, no, no, no. Then suddenly, after a while, he started to say, more or less, now I kind of know. Then we went to an activity in Paraguay, and that's where he was honored at CONMEBOL.
Yes.
And what really struck me was the respect. Man, the respect people have. Here, we kind of take everything as a joke. True.
I was there too. I witnessed that myself. No.
Not too serious about things? No. And the respect. The respect. What really impressed me was the respect. We were heading back the next day. I was driving and he was sitting right there next to me. I went ahead and asked again, Leandrino, do you already know who you are? Man, he answers me, I do. I said, and now? I didn't even know what to ask next. We drove a few more miles, just talking and all that. Then I went and asked again, but are you gonna say who you are? He said no. But he didn't say he couldn't or that he didn't want to. He just said no. I didn't really feel comfortable because of our friendship to push him any further. So we kept going and we got back here to Brazil. The next day, we had some business to take care of here. I always have something to sort out when I come here. So when we got there, I said to him, since I'm not curious, right? Since I'm not stubborn, I said to him, since you already said, since you're not going to say who you are, can you at least say who we are? Then he used a phrase there that, I don't know, he said something. And at the time, I think I was kind of disappointed with what he said. He said, no, that's not what you think at all. Since we're using the word thing, let me tell you something. It's like this. We are something wonderful, man. We have to know who we are, what we are, little by little. That's why it took him so long, a grown-up guy like him, to figure out who he is. Because he took it and said that we have to know who we are drop by drop. Because there is a very powerful force within the system, which is the ego. There's already a very common saying.
Old. When Hernani talks about the system, folks, the Earth system, that's all.
This familiar world, 3D. So the ego is very strong. I've heard it many times. Want to know what a person is really like? Put them on top of a sheet of paper. They'll already start looking down at everyone else because they think they're better than others. Just imagine if we suddenly found out who we really are, what our abilities are, what we can do. If I'm not prepared consciously, psychologically, always leaning toward the good side, just imagine what I could do. What I could do to people, what I could do to myself. So we have to learn little by little. That's it. We kept talking there and I said, Urandir, but now let's talk. One thing, Felipe, the question of authority. That time you talked about your brother? About Guilherme, when you guys left Campo Grande, took a road. Urandir asked you not to get out of the car.
Exactly. He asked me not to get out of the car because back then, I'm talking about people from 2002.
Why?
2002. It's over 20 years ago. It's been 21 years, right? He came up to me and said, look, I'm going to talk with you guys here to see what happened with Guilherme, with your brother. Don't get out of the truck because you don't have the right frequency and you're going to get burned. You won't be able to handle the energy. He got out of the truck, walked about 10 steps ahead, but my curiosity was bigger than my fear. So I rolled down the car window, I was driving, and I climbed out through the window, sat on the door with my legs still inside the car, just so I could at least try to listen in. That's when I saw a giant probe come down and stop right in front of him, and I was left speechless because I was arguing with the beings. But you promised me, you said this wouldn't happen, that wouldn't happen, just like that. Then the probe looked like a broken speaker box because it spoke with a metallic sound in perfect Portuguese. I'm not going to report it. I can't talk openly. It's not. It kept talking, I don't know what. No, little guy, blah, blah, blah. And he was there, but yeah, I was just shocked, first of all, by the way he was addressing that probe, that communication device with intelligence, but like scolding it. Then I realized, my God, the authority this guy has. With them, it was the first time I saw that. I've had countless experiences with them, together with my partners. And actually, it's interesting, Hernani, because so many times I've had this experience of listening, of talking with these beings, but like in such an authoritative way that I was like, guys, who is this guy?
He's not submissive.
He's not. It's surreal, giving directions like, no, hold on, not here. Let's do it this way. I was like, my God. In other words, it wasn't just me or Enon. There were several people here who experienced it.
Another example of authority, we were at another base. Man, in Sao Paulo, over at Pia Biru, which is in Jucatiba, and there was an encounter there with Bilu. And Bilu jokes around with us a lot. He really makes us feel at ease. He's not, I mean, just imagine if he was something related to God, a deity. I don't know what he is. We'll find out in the future. But he doesn't act like that. He acts in a way that puts us at ease. You don't feel scared. There's no such thing as fear. There's no oppression at all. So he came in joking around and said, look, there was someone who came up to Bilu and asked him to go talk to the 49 races, to open the portal of the second ring, which can be defined in a bunch of different ways. The spiritual plane, the parallel world, it could be a lot of things, but there are portals. And then Bilu was saying, can you believe someone had the nerve to talk to Bilu and ask Bilu to go and talk to the 49 races? But the person spoke with so much authority that Bilu went, talked to the 49 races, did the whole thing, and Bilu passed along everything that person had said. And to Bilu's surprise, the 49 races actually agreed to it. Then Bilu came back and said, you know who that is? That's your guide. He's the guy who went and made that request. Look at the authority he has. But Bilu made it very clear. If anything happens during these 2,000 years that you want the portal left open, you are responsible for everything that happens. And Bilu thought he would totally freak out. But he took it in stride and said, leave it to me. I'm the one responsible. So that's a real show of authority. Why am I bringing this up? This too? That day, going back when I was at his house and we talked about this, when he mentioned ego and all that, I said, hey, Urandir, about authority, right? That thing, from that time with Felipe's brother, Guilherme, the one from Piabaru. And let's say you went ahead and gave the green light to our friends, our loved ones, whether we know them or not, to come from the second ring. Let's say one of them shows up here and does something they shouldn't. Then he said, no, the emotional stuff over there isn't like here. Here, it's 100% emotion. Over there, it's at most 30% emotion. And when they come, it's because that person is already aware and developed enough to come here. And another thing, here we're studying, we're researching, we're chasing after knowledge. Over there, they do the same thing. They don't just sit around. When they come here, sometimes it's also to do research, to seek knowledge. But I said, okay. But what if, hypothetically, something happens? Someone does something they're not supposed to. He said, well, since you're asking, let's say that happens. I can feel that person's vibrational field vibrating. Well, I'm talking to you here, you won't even notice. I'll go there, cancel it, and that person won't be able to come here anymore. They'll go back and won't come again because it's almost like a concession so the person can evolve. A kind of freedom so the person can evolve. That's not going to happen. But in the situation you're talking about, I'll go there, mess with anyone's fields, and come back here, and you won't even notice it. Then I remembered a movie I watched called
K-Pax.
The guy claimed he was an extraterrestrial, that he traveled and all that stuff. Then the doctor who was treating him, everyone thought he was crazy, asked him, can you go to your planet and come back? I can. But how do you do it? He said, it's very simple. Want to see? There you go. Wait, what do you mean, there you go? No, I already went there, visited my relatives, saw everything, came back, and you didn't even notice because time here is different. That's pretty much what reindeer told me. So these are amazing things, Felipe, just amazing.
Just to give some context here, for the folks who follow us, maybe who aren't up to speed with what we've been talking about and discussing at Dakila on our channels, on our website, the second ring, the Earth system as we call it, has 9 rings. They're not concentric, okay? It's like a breadbasket, as our friend Bilu says. We're in the first one, ring, okay? This world we know, the Earth, convex, right? Is in the first ring. The second ring is another place, let's say, another ring. Let's put it that way to keep it as simple as possible to make it easier to understand, especially because we still don't know everything yet, right? Everything. We're just starting to study, to receive information from our partners about this. In other words, the second ring would be where those who have lost their physical bodies go to this place. And this place is another world, but it's just like here. More or less, from what we've been understanding, let's see if you agree with me. It's like death doesn't exist, folks. We just change density, change our clothes, so to speak. And there's a possibility of having physical interaction with these people. Through what? Through the opening of this door, this portal. We're not really sure what to call it, but let's just say it's a door that allows communication between the first ring and this.
Second.
Ring, our guide, Urandir, our president, Urandir, petitioned the 49 races to open this door so that we can interact physically, folks. Face to face, verbally, just like we do with the 49 races. It's not channeling, it's not telepathy, it's none of that. Nothing subjective, it's physical. And he got authorization from the 49 races. There are groups there who are being trained for this kind of interaction. In fact, my wife and I are part of this group. We call it the Ascended Group. We can't talk openly about it yet, but I've already had conversations with several people. Many people here have already had conversations, not just alone, but in fairly large groups with these people. But that's something for later on, because y'all are going to learn a lot about this eventually. This is going to be surprising. It's going to revolutionize our understanding of life and death. And what's it going to do?
It's for humanity, all of this.
For humanity, all of this. And what's it going to do? It's going to neutralize the fear of death. Isn't that right?
Exactly. Now, we were talking about authority. The authority that the guy has with the so-called beings, extraterrestrials. How did all of this happen? Now, let's talk about the guy. Back in Presidente de Itaca, when I still lived there, I had a friend who now lives in Paraná, and even though he had a wonderful financial and family situation, he suffered from a really complicated depression. It left him in a situation, a tough spot, always crying and all that, you know how it is. And Urandir, I talked to Urandir, I don't know if he was in Sao Paulo or in Rio, and then he said, Daniel, I'm heading to the farm, bring him over. So, all right. A friend from Kiowa joined us, along with some others from Epitasio, my wife Vanya, and we all went. So when we got here, he was still always crying and everything. And then Urandir told us to do he even called it a stabilization bath. Do you remember that it was supposed to match the planet's vibration?
Yeah, it's a little colder, right? Yeah.
It's natural.
Was it because of the weather?
Yep.
To do it for a certain amount of time.
Back then, I don't know if it was 19 or 29 seconds. I don't remember either. So you do it, then take another bath. It was this whole thing. And it was about 8 o'clock, something like that. Then Urandir showed up and said, let's go up. Let's go to the craters. So we went up, and this friend of ours who was really struggling with depression, another friend, his name is Jose, but we call him Zezinho. He owns a supermarket in the city of Cayua. The other one is Pita, who used to be the manager of the now closed Banespa Bank in Sao Paulo. Vanya and me, those people, we went up. When we got there, for those who know this place and for the newcomers who haven't been here yet, you should come check it out. We go up, pass right by that place we were looking at, the craters. We walk past the marks, then there's a downhill stretch, then you climb up onto the rock, and there's the ring star tree, right? When Orandilla started climbing up there, he was in front, I was right behind him. His hands lit up. Photogenesis, is that what it's called here?
Photogenesis, the polarization of the biomagnetic field. It lights up. It looks like a light, like a
Neon.
greenish, golden. I've seen that too. Several of us here have witnessed that.
So I said, Urandir, are you noticing what's happening to you right now? Then he said, what is it? I said, your hands are glowing. He said, no, it's just that the energy is really good. Look at the sky. So when I looked up at the sky, a red probe went by, then a silver one, a green one, and so on. It was a festival of probes. I said, oh my God, in Canopolis? Amazing. When we got to the plasma crater, there's the healing and plasma crater. So it's at the healing crater. On its edge, it forms a kind of ironwork, like some kind of metal structure, a rock there and all that. Then Randir took the stones with his glowing hands, and the stones started glowing too. Then, on this friend's forehead, he started working on his forehead, and it lit up as well. We were watching, we were observing. Then, all of a sudden, this person who had been depressed, just crying, started laughing, started talking, and Urandir was talking with him while we were just watching and all. And he became normal. He was back to normal. Then Urandir said, look, since the energy is really good, really nice, I'm going to do something here, and each of you will see it according to your own evolution, according to your own development. So he stayed between us, and I stayed here, and Zizinha was over there, that friend of his. It is fine. And what about Vanya? We said. Suddenly, Urandir opened his arms like this and began to light up the chakras, starting from the crown chakra. Crown, frontal, larynx, heart, solar plexus, and so on. The chakras were alive. And of course, he activated the other chakras too, right? And there was this expansion of energy in every direction, and Urandir disappeared. All we could see was this light, like neon, that kind of thing. We knew Urandir was there, but we couldn't see him anymore. But we could see through him. Let's say I was here and I could see Zizinho. Zizinho could see Peter, and the other one, he
became translucent. You could see right through.
A light, a huge light. And you couldn't see Urandir's physical body anymore. There's a regular movie where the guys are made of light and all, but it doesn't even come close to, but you could see the outline, the human eye and all that stuff. No, not with him. We knew it was him there, but we couldn't see him. We just saw light, man. What an amazing thing. What a fantastic thing. Then I don't know how many seconds or minutes went by. It just stayed like that. Suddenly, the big day came together and we went back to normal, right? It came together and then we didn't say anything. Nobody said anything else. Nobody talked anymore. We went downstairs. Each of us went to our own room. And the next day, at breakfast, everyone gathered to have breakfast, since there was even a dorm above the restaurant.
Guys, it's been over 20 years.
It was in 98.
Look.
It was in 98 that this happened. Then people asked, Hernani, what happened up there, man? I said, I don't know either. I've never seen anything like that. I had never seen anything like that. I really don't know what happened either. When I retired, I came here and started managing the construction projects. For a while, before coming back, I would take my sabbatical, my vacation, and come here to take care of things. And we were working on the construction of the first eco-lodge, which has already been torn down and replaced by another one. And we went there to check on the progress of Urandir's project. When we got there, I said, man, what happened up there?
He said, what happened? I
said, what happened, man? Are you going crazy? Did you turn into white, man? Then he just said, oh no, that's really simple. That's our essence. That's what we are. We are light. Even if you start to define matter as condensed light, it actually makes a lot of sense.
Right.
With the process of mental acceleration and also with all the cells and everything, that thing we already know is possible. It is possible. We're just slow. But if we start to speed up the process, we can do it. Then he showed me, he said that what happened there, it's our essence. We are that. And when partners go somewhere that might be contaminated with radiation and such, not only through it, as was the case with the copies, they also use it. They leave the area where there is radiation, something that could harm them, they expand and return. It is
a detox. Yours?
Almost like a detox.
Detox.
Now, we keep thinking, Randir, everything I've seen over all these years, the thing that impresses me the most is him, the guy, whatever he is. I don't know what he is, but it's way beyond us. His humility. The humility? I've never seen him lose his temper, never seen him act like he's better than anyone else. If he has to lie down here on the floor, he'll sleep. If he has to cook, if he shows up at a construction site, he gets right in there and works as a laborer anywhere. He never acts like he's better than anyone else. Quite the opposite, actually.
I've also been on the road for 26 years now, and I can vouch for that. He's a great example for us.
There are a lot of people who hear this or that, see things on the internet, this and that. Man, you don't have the right to talk. We don't have the right to talk. We don't have the right to judge. If I'm going to talk about you or you're going to talk about me, you have to get to know me first. Come meet me in person. I have to meet you in person. And even then, it doesn't give me the right to say anything, let alone just hearing things on the news. When you meet Randir, when you get to know, man, it's amazing. It's amazing.
You're hearing this from two people who spend time with him. It's been many years, Hernani, a lot, even more, because it's been like that for a long time. I mean, but that's the thing. It's what we have in common, right? We know exactly his essence, that warmth he has. It's surreal, really. It's by being around him that you notice it. It's in the day-to-day, because he doesn't really talk, you know? He's very quiet, doesn't say much. It's in the day-to-day, in the things he does that we...
Exactly. And the information that maybe we want so badly, search for so much, he'll tell you. But on the day I'm ready, on the day you're ready, he'll give you that information. He'll tell you, just like that thing that happened over 20 years ago, which I never thought would be anything out of the ordinary. Now he comes and tells me, Hernani, do you remember such and such thing? I remember. So this happened. Man, how is that possible? How did I not notice? Why didn't you tell me before? He said it was because you weren't ready. So we have to be ready to receive the information so you know what you're going to do with that information. Feely told me. Now you know who I am. What are you going to do with that? Man, oh man. Yeah.
This is exclusive, folks. This is the first time we're talking about this Bigaloo thing. Nobody knows about this. You're hearing it here for the first time. That's it.
Well, Felipe, after everything we've talked about so far, if we were to keep going, man, it's a lot. It's a lot. I feel privileged, in every way, to have access to Urandir, to have access to the partners, to have access to the information. And the only thing they ask of us, not just Urandir, but the partners too, is that we share the information. If you want to get out of the world you're living in, if you want to really know reality, seek out knowledge and see what we really are, or at least try to find out. Look into Dakila, check it out on social media, look up the folks who do live streams, right? The people who handle communication.
The official Dakila channels too. And
if you're unsure, if you can't develop, can't get to know, can't understand through these means, come here in person. Come to the Havlon retreat or any Dakila unit, whether in Brazil or anywhere in the world, wherever there's an activity, whenever there's something going on, you'll be surprised, just like I keep getting surprised myself. Even today, after all these years, each day is something more surprising than the last. Thank you, everyone. Big hug. Da.
Hey, guys. I would like to thank my dear friend Hernani for his willingness to share all of this with me. I'm telling you, all of this is unprecedented. I don't think Hernani has ever spoken openly like that before. Some of us already knew. We were already familiar with his stories. We already knew quite a bit about his accounts, but not in so much detail. I even took the opportunity to dig a little deeper here. But really, it was a pleasure, an honor to be here. I'm very grateful. That's it, folks. Later on, maybe I'll invite you for another chat so we can hear more stories to really understand all of this about Urandir, our president, about the history, the partners, the story of Dak. Because Hernani is really old.
Almost in money.
Mummy, almost. And he knows a lot. And he knows all the behind-the-scenes stuff. We, let's say, have always been together with our president, trying to help build all of this. So we know the behind-the-scenes details. I think it's important to share that with you because there's a lot of nonsense being said out there. A lot of people talking nonsense, a lot of people lying. And you need to hear from those who are and have been around.
And you can clear up any doubts, right?
If you have any questions, leave a comment. Post your questions here. So that's it, folks. Thank you very much. See you next time.